Hi guys, and welcome to my spoiler-filled discussion of Avengers: Age of Ultron. Now, if you haven't actually seen my full review for the movie yet, I suggest you go watch that first. That is a spoiler-free, formal review of the movie where I actually give it a rating and a score and everything. But this is not that. This is just a discussion of things that I couldn't talk about while it was still while I couldn't talk about because they're all spoilers and I didn't want to ruin the movie for everybody. So please only watch this particular video if A, you've already seen the movie and just want to hear what I think, or B, don't care about spoilers and just want to know about everything cool that happens in the movie. That being said, you've been warned. Let's get right into it. First of all, and probably the biggest thing for me, was Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. I loved these characters. I loved how they weren't bad guys the whole time. How they were, that you sort of understood their motivations. Scarlet Witch's speech where she talks about Tony Stark, like the bomb that almost killed her, had Stark's name written across it. That was really powerful for me, and I loved how Captain America gets this line. I think he's talking to not Scarlet Witch, but to Black Widow, about what's he talking about? About how he says like, oh yeah, what monsters would allow people to genetically experiment on them for to fight for their country. He's making a parallel between himself and them, and it's sort of just showing understanding that not all people are evil, but some of your enemies are just misguided, and if you can reach out to them like he does, then perhaps you could come to an agreement and stop the fighting without actually having to destroy them. And I think that's the first time they've done that with any sort of villains in the Avengers universe, with the exception of maybe Loki, maybe. Um, I love their relationship, and I was not expecting Quicksilver to die. It was really rough because I wasn't expecting it. I fully expected if they were going to kill anybody, it to either be like, well, I knew it wasn't going to be Iron Man because he's going to show up in Captain America: Civil War, but I thought maybe they'd do a fake out with something like that, or it could be Hawkeye. And when you see those bullets streaming towards Hawkeye, I fully expected that he was going to go. But when Quicksilver got in the way, I thought he was going to save him, but he ends up taking the bullets for him. And he says it. I bet you didn't see that, or you didn't see that one coming. And I'm just like, no, Quicksilver, I didn't see that one coming. Speaking of Hawkeye, I loved Hawkeye in this film. I love how he turned out to be a family man, to be a father, to sort of want to retire from all this. That speech that the monologue, whatever, that his wife gives to him, where he says, you don't think they need me, and she goes, no, I think they do, and that's what scares me. And I'm like, oh, that's so good, because Hawkeye is important, even though he's technically speaking probably the least powerful. Maybe Black Widow is. You see what I'm saying. He doesn't have a whole lot of power, but he's got a lot of importance. He's there for a reason. And I loved seeing all the, like his monologue to Scarlet Witch about I'm just a guy with a bow and arrow on an island in the sky fighting artificial intelligence robots. None of this makes sense. You still got to go with it. That was awesome. I loved how he was the only one to not get mind controlled by Scarlet Witch in that one scene where she's screwing with all the Avengers heads. Because it was a nice like callback to the fact that he was the only one to get mind controlled by Loki. And he even references, he's like, nope, I'm not doing that again, when he tases her with an arrow in the head. I loved that we didn't have to see him go all mind controlled again. Speaking of the mind control, I did not expect the Infinity Stones to be such a big deal in this film. I knew that I had heard rumors that Loki's scepter had an Infinity Stone in it, but I honestly didn't believe that they were true. I didn't think Thanos would be stupid enough to give Loki an Infinity Stone, but I guess that's the whole point of it. It had like a sphere around it, or a case around it, so that you couldn't tell what was really inside it, but Loki could still use some of its power. Then again, maybe Loki did know, but it seems like he would have not needed to make a deal with Thanos to get the Tesseract, if he already had like the Tesseract and and the Mind Stone, he would have been kind of more powerful than Thanos at that point. At least I think so. I haven't seen Thanos do anything but sit in a chair. But the use of the Infinity Stones was neat, and I liked how they both referenced back to Guardians of the Galaxy with that, as well as the Tesseract and the Aether from Thor: The Dark World and Avengers 1. And how they sort of set up Infinity War without losing relevance, because the Infinity Stone, like the Mind Stone, did have relevance in this film. So they didn't lose track of what was important about this particular story arc in Avengers 2. Now, the Mind Stone. The Mind Stone is embedded in Vision's head, and I loved Vision. He's just sort of a neat innocence about him. He's the opposite of Ultron. He's sort of what Ultron was supposed to be, but he's not even really what anybody expected him to be. I, for one, love that he is voiced by the same actor who played Jarvis. And like you said, he's not Jarvis, but he's partially Jarvis. And now when I go back and watch Iron Man 1, 2, and 3 and Avengers 1, anytime I hear Jarvis's voice, I'm like, yep, that's like sort of the guy who's going to be Vision. Like, and even though he's such a new character and he comes in so late, you sort of have known him all along. And I thought that was a brilliant move. I don't have any idea if any of this stuff follows the comic books very closely, but as far as I can tell, this is all the Avengers films at this point are sort of just inspired by the comics and not trying to follow any particular comic book storyline. So they take liberties here and there. I think Ant-Man was supposed to create Ultron, but obviously they haven't. Ant-Man's not a character yet, so they couldn't have Ant-Man create Ultron. Now, with Tony Stark, his fight with the Hulk was one of the highlights of the film. Just his commentary, where he's like, all right, don't mention Puny Banner. He's punching him like repeatedly, like, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep. It made the fight for me. It made it more than just a destruction sequence, which, it was a fun action sequence anyway, but it was more than that too, because of Tony Stark's playful banter. Banner with banter, or banter with banner. I loved how he used the sleeping gas. Ultimately, was I think what got Hulk out of the fight, because Tony Stark knew he couldn't actually beat the Hulk. Nobody can beat the Hulk. Unless it's somebody of equal power, and no matter how much metal you throw at him, it's not going to be ultimately more powerful than the Hulk. And I love how he was just you could see his arm get ripped off, and he had that sort of repair station that constantly kept giving him new appendages and repairing his suit. So it was it was enough. So the repairing of the suit was so that the suit could last long enough, as long as need be, to get the Hulk down, but not try to beat him. And ultimately, whenever the Hulk loses, it's because somebody teleported him somewhere, or because of sleeping gas, or something like that. And I love how that stayed consistent. Now, speaking of the Hulk, that's probably the one thing I didn't like about Avengers: Age of Ultron, or at least thought could have been done better, is his sort of confusing set of powers. Or just the confusion about his powers. I'm not sure when he is in control of the Hulk and when he's not. I'm not sure if it's Bruce Banner is one personality and the Hulk is another personality, or if it's Bruce Banner and when he turns into the Hulk, it's still Bruce Banner wrapped in a bunch of rage and emotion and power. Because in Avengers 1, I thought they set it up to where he hulks out twice. Once he's forced into it because he falls out of a window, and once he does it on purpose. He just turns into the Hulk. So I sort of thought that meant if he gets forced into the Hulk, there's no telling what he'll do. But if he transforms into the Hulk on purpose, then he's in control. But they didn't really follow that line of thought in Avengers: Age of Ultron, and I think that's probably mostly because there's been a lack of an actual Hulk movie. There wasn't a Hulk movie in between Avengers 1 and 2 that's to sort of nail down who the Hulk really is. They're sort of playing more with the idea of who the Hulk is. But that being said, it was still a good time, and I still love the Hulk and Bruce Banner. And that moment when, at the end of the film, when Hulk chooses to leave, and it wasn't Bruce Banner, it was the Hulk chooses to go. That was one of the most bittersweet moments for me. I just I'm sure for everybody, just seeing him go and not knowing when he's gonna come back. I'm sure we'll see him and Thor and everybody again for Avengers 3, but again, we don't really know. There's no guarantees with this. And Bruce Banner and Black Widow's I wanted to say Scarlett Johansson's, but Black Widow's. That's why I want to say Scarlet Witch, Scarlett Johansson. Oh, okay. But Bruce Banner and Black Widow's sort of little love story they had going on. It was very sweet, and the moment when Black Widow reveals that she can't have kids, and Bruce Banner sort of says, "I can't have kids," which I'm not sure why. He says do the math, but I'm not sure why that would stop him from being able to have kids. Maybe gamma poisoning or whatever. But anyway, their love story, even though I don't think that they have ever been put together in the comics, I still felt like it was a really sweet love story. And I felt like it made a lot of sense, especially the setting up of their relationship in the first one. Besides Captain America, I've always felt like Bruce Banner was probably the most likely for Scarlet Witch, for Black Widow to end up with. Now, okay, some of my biggest fanboy moments, I absolutely loved that they all tried to pick up the hammer, and Thor's hammer, Mjolnir, and that Captain America nudged it just a little bit, and that Vision could pick it up, because, he's like only 2 days old. How guilty, how pure of heart. You're obviously going to be pure of heart if you're only, like, we're literally just born, or just created a few days ago, or just a day ago. I love the moment when Ultron has Hulk by the neck, and he's like, and Hulk, not Hulk, but has Thor by the neck, and Thor's like, "You will not defeat me, I am Thor, I am mighty, I am running out of things to say," and Vision whacks him with the hammer from behind. That was a great moment. I absolutely loved that Nick Fury showed up in this film, and I loved that Falcon was there, and that War Machine showed up at the end, just sort of acknowledging that they were in the universe, that they still existed. Seeing them show up was I say a lot of fun all the time, but it was a lot of fun. I was excited to see them, and I fanboyed all over the place. And now speaking of not Hawkeye, I almost want to say Hawkeye, but speaking of Falcon and War Machine, we've got the new lineup of the Avengers. Thor has gone back to Asgard, Hulk is left, Tony Stark's off doing his own thing, Hawkeye has retired, we're pretty sure. At least for now. But so the Avengers as they stand are Scarlet Witch, Black Widow, Captain America, Falcon, War Machine, and Vision. 6 Avengers, just like there were at the end of Avengers 1. But these I'm really excited about that lineup, because that's a lot of characters that I really like, and I'm excited to see the new dynamic, see how these guys work together. Now, I'm sure all of the classic Avengers like Iron Man and Thor will be back for Avengers 3, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be the Avengers crew that's around during Captain America Civil War. And so we'll see if they get torn in half, or if it's like these Avengers versus whoever sides with Tony Stark, or however it falls. And just as a quick side note, I thought that was funny that sort of one of the biggest complaints about the Avengers up until this point has been their lack of diversity. It's been middle-aged white guys and one girl, and now like this sort of new Avengers is still a Captain America, but then 2 women, a robot or a cyborg, and 2 black guys. It's funny to me. Well, that being said, those are all the things I liked and disliked that are spoilerish about Avengers Age of Ultron. Since this is a discussion and not really a review, let me know in the comments what were your favorite moments, what moments you didn't like so much, what moments you're looking forward to in the next Avengers films. That being said, I will thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see you later. Bye.